Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to the Raw and Wild Hearts podcast. I'm your host and guide, Lori Rising, star channeler, transformational mentor, and sacred guide. And welcome to today's episode called Your Next Octave. Are you ready for it? In your heart, in your cells, in your soul. This is beyond the mind. This is beyond conceptual thinking. This is beyond those glimmers of enlightenment and then the normalization of going back to resistance and internal struggles in our life. This is the reality of energy that creates the physicality of the constructs in our lives. This is the invitation into quantum leaping into our multidimensional self and the newer soul flow. This is becoming in the energy before it ever happens in the physical world. So today is extra special because I'm bringing three gorgeous souls and women onto the show to chat with you about their sacred truth and their experience in the last iteration of my mastermind, The Next Octave. And I want you to really hear their transformation, how they went from scarcity into abundance, how they showed up fully for themselves, how they experienced the environment of unconditioned, of witness and belief as they made these big shifts in their reality and came back to the reclamation of themselves as the creator, as the wise one, as the healer. And I'm bringing this in today because my next iteration of the Next Octave Mastermind is available right now. The doors are open only for a couple more days. So this is your opportunity to stand in the power of that declaration, the power of the decision, to create these things in your life that propel you forward beyond a linear path or trajectory, in big ways, in different energies, in adaptability, flexibility, new paths and possibilities, and in that divine connection with your highest self, with your guidance system, and with consciousness all around beyond this physical form. The circle that is already building is powerful. It is incredible. We are going to have the summer extravaganza event of our lives, because we have the opportunity with the recent G5 geomagnetic storms. They are going to be continuing for the next few months. That means the Earth's magnetic shield is down. The light is pouring onto the planet. It wants to be integrated into our experience. And this becomes the magic, the magnificence, and the miracles that we are. But I wanted to share something that one of the newest members put out in the chat after she jumped in. And she went right into the bonuses, into the Path Masterclass that is a part of this experience. And she started listening and she hasn't stopped. And that's how good it is. That's how ready we are. And she said, I listened to the Path Masterclass today and started thinking about the triggers and stories that are repeating in my life. And boom, I realized a trigger I didn't even know I had. It's been carrying on since 2006. And Lori, when you said it's not the person, a light bulb went off in my head. It had repeated itself with 3 different people. I can't wait to journal that out. Now I can stop playing the victim associated with these stories. And 2 days later, this message just came through from that same person. Day 3 of the Path Masterclass. Wow, what an activation. This is the sacred yes that I am talking about. These are the women that I have been calling in the energy into this circle. My physical launch has been very small, the smallest one I've ever done. And I have been spending time searching for those hearts and souls that are going to say yes to this magnificent existence, to what happens when we take ourselves into deep places of alignment and we clear those patterns, those limiting beliefs, those stories that are not ours and they never were to begin with. And we create the story of our life and we emanate that out to generations to come. This time is so special and we are in very accelerated energy. So, I was chatting about this on my social media this week, and some people are going to say yes to the new earth way and they're going to thrive. This is why we're seeing conscious millionaires pop up everywhere, because they know that by changing the energetic environment around them, it actually moves them in ease to their deepest desires, dreams, and manifestations. And this is what we're going to be working on the entire summer in the Path Masterclass. Is we're working with the law of resonance. We're working with the law of assumption. We're actually becoming the person that lives our deepest desires and dreams. And we're creating that reality now and trusting the divine timing and unfolding of the physicality that we see around us. And I also want to talk about the investment. And this is something that I've seen over and over in my business, whichever business I'm in. This is my soul business. This is my aligned divine blueprint business. But before this, I had a business of over 20 years in the healing arts, and I was a pelvic floor therapist. And there are so many women that resisted pelvic floor therapy because we have been persecuted for our bodies, for our intimacy, for being fully alive in our connection and our pleasure and loving ourselves and our body. And so I would see this wound come up time and time again. And if they had physical pain, and I knew that pelvic floor therapy was the root, I would spend time whenever they would come back in for a session. And if they found that courage, if they found that bravery to finally do it, every single one of them, their aura shifted, the glow lit up in their bodies, and the joy was emanating through them. And they could not believe that they were scared of it. They could not believe that they resisted it. It was empowerment within minutes, within an hour. That kind of shift on an energetic foundational level is what reverberates through us, through lifetimes, through our lineage, forward and back. These are the wounds that we are disrupting and healing. Now, I want to talk about that in high touch and high level ongoing mentorships and masterminds, because so many of us feel like that's not a necessity, right? Because we're living in a chronic state of survival energy, because we're living in a chronic state of stress. So taking that kind of leap and that investment with your money, your time, your attention, your energy is actually the biggest and best investment that you can make in your life. Because when you're in alignment, you're no longer in that struggle, and you're no longer questioning yourself, and you're no longer expending all of your energy in those entanglements, in the unhealthy situations and experiences in your life. You stand in your queen, king, or them space without apology, with conviction, with belief. And that is what I want for you. Also, our inability to hold duality actually keeps us waiting for something to change in our life in order for us to move forward in a different way, in order for us to take that action, in order for us to become a part of that circle or do the thing that's been tapping on our heart and really calling to us, right? And in that space, it actually keeps us in time scarcity. It keeps us in money scarcity. It keeps us in love scarcity, and it keeps us disempowered. It keeps us in the space of looking for something outside of us to happen in order for us to show up for our lives. And that is so unfortunate, because you came here in a deep knowingness of what you were bringing to your life and to the collective's life. And so many people will never know that. They will never spend the time really revealing what's underneath all of these programs, the conditions, the limitations, the blocks, the resistance. And that is where you can move mountains with a mastermind, with an ongoing, beautiful environment where you work real time with those struggles and those limiting beliefs as they come up. I've seen this time and time again in all of my containers. And this is why I actually included an option for a very powerful 4-night retreat this summer. So, like, if you are ready to go all in, this is it. The mastermind and the retreat. The mastermind is going to be life changing. It's going to be absolutely the portal of ascension that will move you beyond the struggles that you've known for too long. The retreat is going to be big icing on that cake because I'm keeping it so small. It's my most personal retreat that I've ever done, that I'm actually going to be doing individual channeling sessions for every person that comes to the retreat. It's going to be on the most magical property. It's like 30 minutes from my land. I was there the other night and I was of the earth. I was in bliss. It was pure enlightenment. And I cannot wait to join all of you that feel called for that space as well. But for right now, if you feel called to the Next Octave Mastermind to become a part of this powerful circle that's already there, that's already forming, send me a message, DM me on Instagram, on Facebook. I'm at Lori at therawandwildhearts.com. We can chat about it. Let's explore it together because I do want your sacred yes. I want people that are ready to go all in because I do not hesitate. We go forward and we go forward fast because we don't have time not to. We are the trailblazers here. We are the light leaders in this world. We are the ones creating the new earth for ourselves to enjoy in this body, in this iteration. I don't know about you, but I certainly want to enjoy that. I want to be levitating, leaping into abundance consciousness, into financial freedom and flow. I want to be giving my money and resources to places and people and communities and things that I know are going to bring us together as a community, bring us into spaces of abundance and balance and unity consciousness and love for all. So go ahead and check in with yourself. Where do you want to go with this one magical summer? You know, I've heard this recently and it impacted me a lot. Depending on your age, if we get to live a beautiful full life, right? Let's say 80, 90 years old, something like that, 90 or 100 years old, just subtract 90 from the age that you are now. That's how many summers you're going to have until then. What are you going to do with them? What are you going to do with this precious life, this beautiful body, and this conduit to the biggest miracles and magic that your life can be? Because I am here to be your biggest cheerleader. Thank you all for being here. If you love this episode, please give us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and subscribe on your favorite platform, especially if you're on YouTube or Spotify, and screenshot this and tag me on IG and let me know what really spoke to you, especially through this beautiful conversation that you're about to drop into. And if you're new to the show, welcome. I am so excited to bring you into this gorgeous circle of beings. This is the Wild Heart Revolution. And without further ado, let me introduce you to 3 of the beautiful women that make up the strength of this community. Please welcome Heather Callahan, Lacey Boucher, and Christy Tesmer. Hey, y'all.
Hey
Hello.
there. Hello.
Yay, it's the dream team. I am so excited to drop in to this transmission with all of you and share the power and magic that was the Next Octave Mastermind that we really created and we really unfolded together in beautiful ways. But first, before we start diving into the power of a mastermind and really saying yes and investing in that space for ourselves, I would love to hear a little bit more about each of you. What's your innate medicine? What are you out sharing in the world? What is good in your life? Heather.
Hi, I'm Heather. I am a creative guide. I help people find their inner artist that they have been taught to ignore or push down. Um, right now, I'm working on a digital planner that has everything in it that I could never find in one planner. Um, I've also been doing some one-on-one workshops with individuals on social media. It was kind of impromptu, it was not planned, um, to help find their spark, their creativity in their everyday life.
Beautiful. Heather. That's how spirit and guidance works. And you're available to really hear that and take that new path and possibility, right? That's what
Yep.
happens when we get more and more clear in our own mission, in our own medicine, then opportunities start popping up for us. So, yay, you. Well done.
Absolutely.
Congratulations. Ah, Lacey.
Yes, Heather. And thank you, Lori, for this opportunity. My name is Lacey. I am a children's book author and an inspirational family leader, and I offer a space for kids to really step into their light, to build their confidence, and to freely express themselves through the magic of storytelling, mindfulness, and connection. And I'm just happy to be here and grateful for this space. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Christy.
Hi, I'm Christy. I'm a crystal healer, and I work with women to help them empower themselves and to bring clarity to what you might be feeling in everyday moments. I work with the energy of crystals, and currently I have a course that's out there. It's Crystal Healing and Energy Basics. We talk about the chakras, we talk about our energetic system, we talk about how crystals can help modulate and work with your body to bring up unconscious messages that you're not aware of, to make them conscious so you can heal them. Along with that, I'm also working on a crystal a day calendar to make this an everyday part of your life. So exciting times.
Heyo. That was a test. Y'all passed. So this was part of the power that we had been creating in the mastermind together. And so I really wanted to hear on a stage with a microphone what would come out from each of you. And I am impressed. I'm so excited. Like, I am a happy mama bear right now, right? Like, this is incredible. Thank you so much. Y'all are doing wonderful things in the world. And I feel so honored that I got to be a part of that journey for the time that we were together. So, what I really want to drop into is the mastermind, because I feel like maybe it's confusing for some people. They don't really understand what a mastermind is, why they would spend the money on a mastermind, because it's not part of the constructs of this world that we're told we have to save our money for, right? So I want to talk about that investment, not just financially, but that investment of your soul in a mastermind, and how it does actually propel you in ways that would take a lot longer if you ever even get there on your own, because you're moving through so many revolving doors of limiting stories, of blocks, of mindsets that keep holding you back and stopping you from stepping and claiming that power that each and every one of you just did. It was really beautiful. Thank you for that moment, first of all. So I guess the question that I would have is, for the journey from the moment that you got the inkling that, yes, I want to come into this mastermind, to the fear of like, I, that that's a lot. Like, I don't know if I can invest that money, that time. Like, oh my gosh, what will happen? What's my ROI? ROI is return on investment. Like, what am I guaranteed if I do this? This is really a ledge. It's a precipice that we've got to jump off of at some point when we want to move in quantum ways in our life, right? So let's just kind of start with that. Heather, I'll begin with you.
I'm a little bit different than everybody else. I wanted to, but I was very, very iffy about the money at first, actually, most of the way through it. I actually had a time when I messaged Lori and said, just take me out because I can't pay for this anymore. And she didn't let me leave. And we worked through it. And I found a way that, honest to God, I don't think I would have ever thought of in any other situation of how to pay for it. And it absolutely, absolutely was worth it. And but you have to put in what you want to get out of it, because otherwise it's not going to work, because you do have to grow. You do have to go through those growing pains to get past everything that's holding you back. And it's not pretty at all. So yeah, you have to face yourself. And it's definitely not something that we like to do, especially in this society in this day and age. Definitely not. But it's absolutely worth it.
Right. So I want to highlight, you said, and it's not pretty. Is it pretty now?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's what I want us all, everybody that's listening, to really sit with is growth isn't in our comfort.
No.
Like comfort just keeps us where we are, right? Because we're comfortable at that space where we are, even in the limitation, even in the discomforts that come up. So I love that you brought that up, that you tried to leave in the middle, because my first response was to let you go.
Mhm.
And I let myself sit with this. And this is where a response over a reaction is gold. Because
Mhm.
I let myself sit with it and I was like, wait a second, this is exactly what the mastermind is for. It's actually to move through this. It's actually to bring the deepest revelations up when you are fully supported in that space, not just with me, but also with the other participants. It's amazing when you can come back in that place of unconditioned and witness and work through something energetically, spiritually, physically, right? With the actual
Yep.
money, and then realize that you're a creator, but you were limiting yourself from the possibility of other creations in your life. And that's what I was able to do, right? When we come together and
Mhm.
it's like we bounce ideas back and forth, we open the energy in new ways. And we did, and we found a way through it. So this is my biggest, I don't know, my biggest growth factor as a coach or
Mhm.
a mentor is helping people find softness in that space of discomfort and stress and tension so that you can grow your capacity to move beyond what you've known, which is what's taking you up to that precipice. So thank you so much for sharing that vulnerability with us
Absolutely.
all and sharing the outcome, right?
Mhm.
Because now you're
Yeah,
sitting there saying the investment was absolutely worth it.
absolutely.
And now I guess the other question I want to ask you is, has your charge on money decreased? Has it dissipated since
Mhm.
then?
I I don't worry about it. Like do I still have money issues? Doesn't everybody? I mean, it's just the way society is built right now. But I don't worry. I don't have anxiety over it like I used to. Absolutely not at all. So
Awesome.
yeah, it's a huge, huge thing for me.
Right. So even if we just take that one trigger,
Mhm.
that one wound, and the entire investment that you made to transform that wound, that's only going to propel you. It's only going
Yep.
to create more expansion in your ability to receive, your ability to grow your money and your financial freedom. So, yes, I'm like a heck yes on that. Thank you so much. Lacey, how
You're
about you?
welcome.
Well, what I want to say, um, just about, and to anyone just entering into a mastermind, is just to really um, know who you are jumping in with. And because that's where you're going to get the most, I think, rewarding and just authentic transformation. So, however, when you meet Lori, you only need to meet her, like hear her for maybe 15 minutes and you're all good. But I think for me, it's like when you had the master class and I was showing up to that and it was beautiful and it was building up to the mastermind. And every day I was like, I see myself in the mastermind. And it was a money story as well. So I kept seeing myself there. And then just kind of, um, I am excited for everyone that's going to be in there. And then there was the final, Heather, and you were a big part of that push in that last master class. And it was like, I am doing this. Like, this is just making that commitment. And I'll never forget, Lori, because I went to my garage to be like, Hey, Lori, I really love to sign up for this, sent you a voice memo, and you're like, you don't even know the price. You, and I was like, I'm in. And so it's when you're just following the intuition and the guidance of such a strong mentorship, and just really feeling it in the cells of how that will elevate your life. And I just kept feeling and feeling and moving beyond the stories. And of course, we went through the mastermind, we went through all the money stories and all the stories. And I'm just so thankful to have jumped off that initial precipice and that led me to where I'm at today, because without this journey, yeah, I always say it's just like I don't want to say I wouldn't have found this eventually, but it was just the leveling up, the accountability, the showing up, and it was just constant reminders from you, Lori. So always grateful and love you all.
So do you feel like your money mindset has expanded and grown as well? Has it transformed for you?
I do believe so. Yes. Yes. Definitely. Definitely. Um, there's things that show up. Um, so it's almost like evolved, just kind of where I thought I was with money, just thinking there wasn't enough, but now it's like the trusting that it will come in. So just almost that evolution of that money mindset. So
Yeah, so the evolution of going from scarcity to abundance, no matter what your physical world is right now. But I'm also curious, like, do you feel the results of the mastermind that made the money a beautiful investment?
yes, yes, 100%. Because um it evolved into that money coming in expected and unexpected ways. It's really transformed where I thought money had to come, but now I can see it differently or not see it, because it's just going to come in unexpectedly.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Lacey. Christy?
So I could probably talk for hours on this program, right? Like everybody else. I feel like one of the biggest benefits that I've had from this is that regardless of what I'm doing or what's going on around me, I am connected to myself in a way that I never thought I could be. And not only connected to myself, but connected to other people that are like me and that have the same sort of, ooh, interesting, zest for life, that we want to get the most out of it, right? And working with Lori, I've been working with Lori for a while now. And I got to tell you guys, I was kind of scared of Lori in the beginning. Can't bring that in here because her energy is so big. And I am like this. I'm really not. My real personality is big and out there. And I was hiding behind whatever and not wanting to be seen in my authenticity. And doing this mastermind and working with you, Lori, has brought that out of me. And instead of tiptoeing, I'm running. Instead of hiding, I'm getting out there. So the money is so worth it. It's you. I don't even think I can quantify the level of the level of joy that I have because of all of you that have joined me in this, and the growth that I personally have gone through, and the possibilities that are apparent now within this lifetime, and hopefully others, because we're transcending it all. And I have nothing but great things to say. So this is so worth it. And if nothing else, you're going to explode your brain and you're not going to know what to do. So there you go.
Oh my gosh, amazing. Christy, I do want to say when you said, and I am like this, I was like this,
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes.
right? Because when
Yes,
you
very
first
true.
met me and you had that fear, it's because I'm reflecting what you know you are, but you're holding yourself back from.
Yeah.
That's pretty big in my world with people because I've had plenty of people that are like, nope, I'm hightailing it out of here because they're not ready for that level of authenticity and intimacy with themselves. Because as you all know, like I will take us there. I mean, like Heather said, it's not butterflies and rainbows and unicorns. That's the result. But we go through the work, we bring up the shadow, we bring up the triggers, right? I want to talk about one example specifically, Lacey. It was so good. And I knew I was being spicy. I knew I was being really intense in this circle that we had on one of the days. And Lacey had a response where she was going through an emotional feeling from it. And we were trying, I'm quoting trying. We were as a group trying to keep going because her words were saying she was okay. Her energy was not okay. And so I was moving on to the next iteration of whatever we were going to work on, and I could still feel her energy. And so I came back specifically and just looked at Lacey and I was like, "Are you feeling?" And she just let it out. She let it flow and she was going to hold it in until she was by herself in a space of less authenticity, right? In a space of hiding herself in a certain way. And so, in this kind of like real big reflection, she was able to let it go and feel love through it. That's the growth. That's the healing right there. Or else she could keep doing it the way she was doing it and bringing it back on a loop again and again, hiding herself until it was safe, until she was alone. Then she would let it out. So, Lacey, can you talk a little bit about that? Like, I would love to hear more of the results of that because after you let the emotion out and we moved through it as a group, you were laughing, your energy was different, you were clear. So I want to talk about the real-time results that can happen in that kind of journey in space and that kind of channeling that I do. I don't have a set agenda, like we work in the group energy. So how did you receive that, Lacey?
Right. So I actually just felt the tears just I knew exactly when you said my name. I was like, "Oh." And it's interesting because of course looking back on the modules because there is the nuggets in each module, the tapping we've done, like I go back to the modules for whether it's the practice. I often am a little timid going to when it was that module. Um, so that's interesting, but it just reveals just the vulnerability that I truly hadn't expressed and just didn't think I would ever be called out on it.
That's what happens
Because
when you work with a channeler.
because yes, it was just yeah, it was just I was keeping it together and then in my head I just knew I would be crying about it later and dealing with it later. Um and so when it came up that it was just confronted and I feel like now how I just like moved with this in my life, I just feel like um to be more transparent with people because not everyone's going to dig that out of me. Not everyone's going to see that. And so if I am open just to express, then I'm not going to suffer in that because throughout my life there was like suffering in silence, but not like anyone would think I was suffering in silence, but it was just the sadness that I had that I actually didn't even realize that was suffering. until that day, and then that space that you allowed, and Heather and Christy, that you all were open to just allowing that for me. So it's just been a beautiful reflection, and I'm actually so happy you brought that up tonight, because just as life moves on, you kind of forget those big moments, and that's huge. And I'm just so happy that we touched back base on that, because think of all the shit. We're in a safe space, right?
Absolutely.
All the shit we're going through. It's like you kind of go back to that type of pattern. And I think the last week have kind of felt that. So I'm very happy that that's been brought into my awareness again.
Well, and I'm going to just highlight here that there's probably a message in you being timid to watch it again,
Mhm.
right? Because that could probably take you through another layer of breakthrough. And so if there's still something sticky, right, in the cells, if there's still an imprint there, we're going to be like, ooh, I don't want to feel that again. But if it's not sticky anymore, it becomes neutral and it has no power over us. And the other thing I wanted to highlight is that because you felt the results, and when you say suffer in silence, what I'm getting is the suffering part is not trusting others with your vulnerability. So you got the results of what it felt like to actually just fully express, clear that energy, and bring yourself back up to finish the call with us in a level of clarity instead of sitting with this tension and this struggle that you're waiting to deal with later, right? So because you got those results, now you can start applying that to your life in new ways with other relationships where you know they're not going to pull it out of you, but you know that how it feels to trust them with your vulnerability. And you trust yourself that if they're not a good match for that, they might not be a good match for your life.
Mhm. Yes,
Booyah.
thank you. A boom. A mic drop.
So I would love to hear Heather and Christy. We'll start with Heather. I would love to hear your experience of that as well.
I'll say this, not just the point with Lacey, but the couple of times that every single one of us had that sticky moment. I mean, like I said before, it's not all sunshine and rainbows and butterflies. It's painful, but you have to be open to going through that. And every time one of us did, I think it reverberated through all of us. Because even if that wasn't one of our main stories, we did feel like that was definitely a point that I was like, oh, yeah, I guess I do still do that. But that's the other thing I did want to say is the friendships, the family that you get from this mastermind are incomparable. I consider you guys family, and I have friendships that are 20 years old that I don't consider family. So you build that base, that foundation of a relationship with yourself and with everyone else in that's just completely bare and open. And you have to take it.
That's amazing. And I think that's such a beautiful point that you're making. That when you, like, I was going to say walk into a container like this, like leap into a container like this, because you are making a significant investment, not just with your money and your dollars, with your energy, with your time, with your belief, with your soul. Whoever you come into that space with, you're starting a foundation in the real human bond of vulnerability, of unconditioned, of witness. And so you don't have to go through all the muck in these relationships. Like you're already intimate, you're already connected at that level. You're already, like you said, bare, and you get to build from that space. So there's none of this like navigating push-pull energy in the relationship. And what a beautiful thing. Thank you so much for highlighting that, Heather.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Christy, how about you?
So I wanted to start with the fact that like everybody has said, is the safety within this container to be fully vulnerable and feel your feelings and not feel judged in any way, and yet supported by everybody in this container is amazing. If this sort of support was provided, given, available in real life, this planet, this world would just be so different. I just wanted to say that. I feel like this investment is so invaluable because of the bonds that we have with everybody, and because of, I personally, in the past, have lived my life in fear, afraid of the dark, afraid of the light, afraid of being out there, afraid of being myself. I have made the conscious effort through this and many other things to break through those barriers and to walk that path to find out who I really am. And here comes my emotion. So it's raw and it's real. And I was not able in the past to share that emotion and be that vulnerable and be who I really am. And now I can. And I won't say I don't struggle with it a little bit. It is way easier for me now because I've practiced and I can feel it, and the shame is gone. And it's because of the work I've done here and with all of you. And I know that there is support out there in the world. If I need it, I can call on it at any time. So I think that's it for now.
That's bliss, y'all. So I want to highlight something that Christy said. Is she said, if this was available in real life, this is real life. We've been taught something completely different. This is how humans came in to connect, to bond, to love, to hold space, and trust the journey of everyone. Trust in life, trust in ourselves for making the investment, for showing up. And that's what I want to say. Like every single one of you showed up, because I think Heather said you have to show up for yourself. You get to show up for yourself, because a lot of people in this life never will. And so I love, Christy, that you said, now I know, because here's a space of trust as well. You said, now I know that even if something comes up in my life, there's support out there that I can call upon. And I agree. I've talked to you all about this. I've probably talked on the podcast a little bit about it, but I entered into not a mastermind, but a mentorship last summer in the dark night of my business, where I really thought I wasn't going to keep going in this soul mission, in what I know is what I'm truly here to share in the world. And she did that for me. And she kept me in the arena. She kept me coming back. And she helped me come back stronger. And that's such a beautiful thing. And that's where, if we're going to talk about it's real world versus versus blissful world, right? So I'm going to say the 3D world versus the multidimensional world. The difference is, when we've been conditioned in talk therapy, in the model that's been given to us through insurance and through the linear systems, that just keeps us running in the same programs and running the same loops. It keeps us gathering more evidence for the limiting mind stories, because it's usually once a week, right? We have plenty of time to come back to those neural pathways and those patterns. And then we just come back the next week and we just keep reinforcing why this is happening to us, why we're feeling like victims here. And that's the difference with my masterminds and my mentorships, is it's embodied. Right? We didn't just sit there and talk. We didn't just go through concepts or theories. Like, we lived it. We moved the energy, and we really dropped in to what wanted to be revealed and what was imprinted in ourselves. and I don't let you get away with it. That's where I feel like therapists, and I'm not saying, I don't want to generalize here because I love talk therapy. I've utilized it for a huge portion of my life, right? But we are evolving to understand the full being that we are: body, mind, soul, energy, spirit. All of it has to come together, right? So when you can really start to speak through the energy, and when I can pick something up and I'm like, that's a limiting story, we're going to actually go to the discomfort to move ourselves through it right here and now. And we're going to clear it in the energy. We're going to, create space to integrate and alchemize the new way of being. This is the difference of a mastermind or a mentorship, because not all of you utilized it very much, but you had the ability to do coaching with me besides when we came together in these live calls. And all of you did do some of it. One of you did a whole lot of it, more than the others. Does anybody have a guess? Anybody?
Was it
This-
Christy
Lacey.
or Lacey?
I'm like, you guys, this is a podcast. You have to actually say it.
You know who you are.
I actually was going to say you, Christy.
See,
It was Lacey.
I
But
do.
that's the beauty, is that when you get stuck, instead of letting that become a deeper imprint, you have the option to show up for yourself and create that transformation, to work through it real time. And I mean, Heather, we did that, when you were trying to leave because of the
Yep.
money. Christy, you came in too. You still did some of it, but you even said, you self-proclaimed, like, why am I not using the coaching? Why am I not doing this? And so that's something to explore, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Ah, and it was so good. I mean, since it ended, I feel like all of us have felt something missing in our lives. And that's how good it is. And that's how, even in my retreats, I get to this place where I'm like, this is real life. The other stuff without this, it just feels like it's almost flailing, like there's something so deeply missing. So when we get into this kind of connection that just feels so real and so loving, we come out and we're like, wait a second, where did that go? That was creating a deep space of balance in our lives. And so I really hope that more people start to step into the power of this kind of container, whether it's with me or someone else. Christy, I've got to say that I'm going to take us back to the beginning. When you shared your innate medicine, I have never heard you more powerful. I've never heard you more in a claiming or a reclamation of who you are and what you came to be. Your words were strong. They had meaning. They had belief. Yes, that's what it was. I have never believed you more than tonight.
Awesome. Great. I believe them. So they're part of me. They're who I am. I'm here to bring that medicine to this world, and I'm attracting the people that need it. So it's all good.
And how does that feel? How does that confirmation feel to you?
Surreal. It feels like it feels right. And at the same time, it feels like it's in a long time coming. It feels really good.
And I mean, I feel the same about all of you, especially just coming onto this call and getting to see you all again. Of course, I follow you on social media and I stay up with you as much as I can. But it's amazing. It's the celebration of how far we've come and how much more we're expanding. If there was one thing that you wanted to share with somebody who was thinking about getting into a mastermind, but they had all the scarcity programs running in their minds, in their stories, in their loops, what would you say to them, Heather?
Do it anyway. End of story. No ifs, ands, or buts. Do it anyway.
So I'm going to add to that. So when you say do it anyway, I want to say trust your intuitive
Yeah.
hit. Right?
Trust your gut, not your brain.
Yeah, there we go. Beautiful. Thank you, Lacey.
Yep.
I was gonna say, do it. As well. But it's just, yeah, once you hear and you connect with the offering that you're doing, or who's hosting the mastermind, it's, yeah, trust your intuitive head and just be open, and just there hasn't been any better community and accountability than I've experienced. I'm just so forever grateful. And you all know, I think we've like all said it maybe multiple times throughout. But yeah, just go for it, because it's your life, one life, and you deserve it.
Amazing. I love that you brought that up because every time I would move us into a gratitude practice, everyone, the first thing they would say is, I'm so grateful for you guys. Like, or I'm so grateful for this space. And I'm like, okay, but you got to get more details. You got to say more things. But I loved it. And like that just shows, right? Like
Mhm.
how alive that becomes for you. It became our reality for quite a while. And now we're getting to live from that. And it's really, really beautiful. Christy, how about you?
I would agree with what has been said. I would say jump in with both feet wholeheartedly. Open yourself to the experience and embody it, because that is what we're here to do in this life. Do it.
Yes, I love how definitive all of you are. And I feel like for me, it's this place of trust, but not just trust. On the other side, there has to be a belief that there's more, right? This is really working with that scarcity mindset. Because when we make a decision based on our innate guidance, right? That intuitive hit, that psychic knowingness within us, that embodied response, we can do it, but then those stories and programs can pull us back, like what happened with Heather halfway through or wherever we were when that happened. But when we can find this space of trust and knowing there's something here for me that's going to take me so much bigger, so much bolder and more expansive in my life, and all kinds of possibilities can come from that energy, then we can back it up. We can be more definitive. We can stay in that place and we can move beyond and transform those stories and those programs that are trying to pull us back into like a perceived space of safety, right? Where we're not growing, we're not expanding, and we're not finding those new paths and possibilities because the energy has become different. It's become alive within us. So, amazing, y'all. This has been so yum. I've really enjoyed hanging out with all of you. Thank you for sharing your truth, your vulnerability, your experience with so many out there. And like I said, whether it's me or somebody else, I feel like this is actually the fast track to us getting into a new earth way of life where we are disrupting these generational patterns and these limitations where we're holding ourselves back, we're dimming our light. So to wrap it up, just share with everybody where they can find you and where they can get more into this innate medicine that you have brought into their world in this time together. Heather.
I'm on Instagram and X, not Twitter, sorry. You can find me as Celtic Rune 76 or as Zen Geek Boutique, and actually zengeekboutique.com.
Okay, Lacey.
You can find all things I'm up to on my website, lacyboucherbooks.com. And I'm on Instagram and YouTube as well. So
And what are those names?
Lacey Boucher Books.
Okay, so it's everywhere.
Everywhere. Yes.
Awesome. Amazing. Christy?
You can find me on my website, lemurianhealingtouch.org, as well as on Facebook and Instagram. Facebook, Christy at LHT, and Instagram, Christy at LHT as well.
Yay. Thank you for being such bright lights in this world, for being catalyst to change in really creating a new earth way of living and being in our innate medicine and our soul biz. I love y'all so much.
Thank you,
Love you
Lori.
all too.
Love you too.
Love
Yeah,
you,
thank you so
Lori.
much.
All right. And until next time, y'all, don't forget to keep looking up.